Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Hi, my name is Melinda. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm very scared right now. So thank you for that, Paul. That was great. I'll just be brief, but I appreciate Rustin asking me to lead the meeting. Thank you very much. I took my cake here when I had a year, and I wasn't going to meetings with the lights on my first year. I only went to candlelight meetings, and I came to this meeting. It was like such a growth experience to get here and take a cake, and it really meant a lot, because I couldn't get up in front of a room full of people without being high, for sure. It was definitely not without a drink. So this is a miracle. And we're all miracles here tonight, aren't we? Not drinking. I started drinking very young, and I was born in New York. And I was born into one big party. It was a cloud of pot smoke and LSD. And it was really interesting. And I remember thinking, this probably isn't right at some point. My mother probably should not be tripping that much. And she probably shouldn't be taking me to see Pink Floyd The Wall when I was 6. So I basically saw the world through a psychedelic haze for the first 10 years until I basically ran away. I was like, that's enough. I need Johnny Carson. And that's what I did. I went to Grandma's, who watched Johnny Carson and didn't take LSD, and hung out with her for a while. And I pretty much was on my own from a very young age, and nobody told me what to do, and I experimented with a lot of things, and school was not one of them. I hated school, and I hated people, but I liked clubs a lot. I liked music, and I liked clubs, and that was my friend, clubs, drugs, drinks, music, and that's what I spent, most of my life until one day, I had a rude awakening after alcohol poisoning over and over and over again. My whole teens spent in rehabs and therapist offices and, truant officers and all that, and subways, a lot of subways. I living here and not riding the subway is like, it freaks me out a lot. I need the subway sometimes. And I just, it was just like, I just said, what are you doing, And I had a lot of interventions, and people tried to save me, especially men, and it didn't work. And, what happened was, I can only say, there must be a God. And that's what this program has given to me, is a higher power of my own understanding that I kind of knew was there, being from where I came from without any present parents or siblings or anybody. And my parents ultimately died from their diseases, and my grandmother ultimately died from old age, and I was left to my own devices, and it was either live or die, man. There was like no in between. There was no ride anymore. And so, one thing led to another, and I found myself in college. Somehow I didn't go to high school, but I went to college, and I scored very high on my tests from all of that scamming my whole life. I figured it out. I'm very resourceful. And I passed the tests, and I got into college, and I couldn't drink and go to class. I just couldn't do it. I had to stop drinking if I was going to graduate college, and that was my first motivation to come to AA. And I came here, and there were a lot of old-timers, and I went to meetings in Queens, and they said, just don't drink. Just don't drink today, and that was beyond me, to not have something in my body, one day at a time that wasn't chemical or alcohol. And then 30 days came, and then 90 days came, and, all of a sudden I was physically feeling better. I was no longer sick in the morning. I no longer had like drug dealers climbing up my window and knocking on the door, and and I always paid them back, by the way. Like, that was not an amends I ever had to make, that I always wound up paying my drug dealers back. But it was like, there was a lot of things that I really didn't miss about using, and I was really happy to be in Alcoholics Anonymous. And but my behaviors stayed the same, and although I wasn't out all night using and sick all the time, I still was very arrogant, very selfish, very self-centered, very fearful. Fear more than anything else, mostly afraid of what you all thought of me, mostly afraid of if I fit in or not, because I didn't ever feel like I fit in anywhere, and afraid that I was unlovable, that I had been through too much, and I was too scarred, and I was too damaged. And after I graduated college in this program and I got a fabulous job, fabulous prizes, I went out. And it was those were the reasons, because I was afraid, and I wasn't telling anyone, and I wasn't coming to meetings anymore, and I wasn't showing up. And within the time that I went out, I kept going to meetings, and I kept slipping, and I kept coming back, and I kept coming back. And I moved to California in that time. And even here, I kept falling down, and I kept getting back up. And, I found myself sitting in the log cabin one morning next to a wonderful spirit named Sherry Lewis, who absolutely saved my life in Los Angeles. And, I was so afraid being away from home for the first time and not knowing anyone. And she, when I decided to come back, she was there. And, 3.5 years later, she's still there for me. And it's the longest I've ever been clean and sober. I do have a wonderful, wonderful life today. And I don't have really anything on the outside more than I'm so free. I was thinking about that yesterday, like how free I am in the morning. I could do what I want. I'm not a slave to like how I feel anymore, And it's like, it's just unbelievable. And I deal with problems as they arise, and I deal with them through the steps, and I deal with them with God, and I'm not alone, and my sponsor and friends in this program. I had a birthday last week, a belly button birthday, and I'm not getting any younger. And I know I look young, but I'm not. And I really, really was freaking out about it. And a lot of people showed up and, gave me presents, and just, it was a wonderful, wonderful gift. And that came after I did a lot of this work, after I looked at myself, in the 4th and 5th step, and, really became honest in 6 and 7, and made amends, in 8 and 9, and then try to live in 10, 11, 12 as the best that I can. And showing up for this meeting and leading this meeting tonight is living in 10, 11, and 12. Because if it was up to me, the selfish alcoholic, I would not be here. So I appreciate you all listening, and I hope you have a wonderful meeting, and we have a great speaker coming up after the break.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.